Dan Perkins. You've seen his stuff on foreign policy. You've seen it over at the Daily Caller. You've seen it over at Town Hall. You've seen it over at Newsmax. You've seen it over at The Hill. Dan, how's it going, sir?
Pretty good. And yourself?
I'm doing well this morning. Doing well, ready to start the week. What can you tell us about, what's your interpretation of what's going on with the vote yesterday, or the vote last week on Thursday to go forward with the impeachment inquiry? The Democrats are saying in a more public fashion. What were your thoughts?
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be with you. My initial thought at the beginning of this process, this impeachment didn't begin with the phone call in July. This impeachment, this impeachment, and you can go back and look at the public record, began before President Trump was even inaugurated president. The idea that they were absolutely it was unacceptable for Donald Trump to be president of the United States. What my take is that what we have here is the Washington elites trying to tell the rest of the people in the United States, you don't matter. And that's really the bottom line. It isn't anything to do with Donald Trump in reality, because there is no fact base for impeachment. And I understand that under the Constitution, the House can impeach the president supposedly for high crimes or misdemeanors or whatever the hell they want to do. If he parts his hair on the wrong side, they could try and impeach him. But the issue really isn't anything about what he's done. It is the fact that they lost an election that threw a huge, huge monkey wrench into what it is they were trying to do as the elitists of our country. And that's really the issue. It is a small group of people who decided that the American people did not have the right for the decision that they made in November of 2016. And so they decided to take upon themselves to overthrow the government. And that's really what it's about. And so people are saying, well, aren't they going to destroy the Democratic Party? In actuality, they don't really care if they destroy the Democratic Party because they believe they are invincible and what they want has to happen in this country. And so the American people are becoming more and more aware of the kangaroo court and the absence of due process and respect for the office the Democratic Party is looking into and what they're talking about and the way they've conducted themselves. The chairman of the committee has lied to the American people on television in front of the world. He stood there and lied to it. Yet there's no consequences in the Democratic Party for what he did. And that's really another issue. There is no accountability to the Democratic Party for their actions when they're wrong, period.
Loaded question. I completely agree with everything you just said. What is it that Donald Trump is doing or not doing that is causing this reaction, or what do they want to do or continue to do that the president's obviously he's changing the status quo. That's why they're reacting this way, right? So what are those issues?
Sir. The basic issue that the Democrat elite and some Republican elites, although the House stood with the president 100%, which I was thrilled to see that happen. The bottom line is that the Democrats do not like the idea that Donald Trump is doing exactly what he told the people who he asked for them to vote for him that he was going to do. And it's all those things that he promised the American people that he would do that are counter to what the Democrats think should happen. So it is truly not only an attack on President Trump, it's an attack on all of us who voted for him because we didn't know for sure, we would hope that he would try and live up to his campaign promises. And he's done a better job at that. And the bottom line, the Democrats are pissed off at him because he's doing his job.
So the issue of stopping illegal immigration, building a wall, lowering taxes, we've said forever that we needed a businessman to run the country. ending the foreign wars, or at least the endless foreign wars, rebuilding the
Right.
military. The Democrats don't want any of that.
No, they don't, because it's not on their agenda. They don't want the economy to recover. They don't want minorities, blacks and Hispanics, having increased opportunity, economic opportunity, to become less dependent on the federal government. All the things that he's trying to do and he's accomplished are things that he said, "I will do this as your president." And remember the famous speech in Detroit when he went into the black community. What have you got to lose to vote for me?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You know,
yeah.
and so the difference is, in 2016, Donald Trump ran on his ideas. In 2020, Donald Trump is going to appeal to the American people by what he has done. Big, big difference. And I have been predicting all along that I believe the outcome of the election will be 48 states for Donald Trump and 2 for whoever the Democratic nominee is.
Wow. I mean, talk about a land.
And I think I could be off by 1. I think it could be 49-1, and the swing state is going to be California. And since Ronald Reagan was president and ran for president, Republican presidential nominees have abandoned the state of California. They never went there. They never spent any money. They didn't prospect. Donald Trump went there, if you remember, this summer. He went to San Francisco, and he went to L.A., and he brought out almost $30 million, and they were turning people away from the events because there wasn't any more room. Donald Trump is now beginning to deal with the problems in California, and he's getting, I believe, a reception. So California, believe it or not, could be in play.
Wow, that is a huge statement there.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I will say this: a lot of times people change their minds based on pain or avoidance of pain. And I've got relatives. I've got a great aunt and a great I've got an aunt and an uncle in California that they don't have any power right now, and and they're old. I mean, they would be fine with me saying that, and they're sitting there without power. That's crazy to me. You know what I mean?
You got 800,000 people that don't have power, over 50,000 people that are homeless because of fires, and in a recent Gallup poll of registered voters in the state of California, over 50% admitted they were thinking about leaving the state because the taxes were unbearable. So everything is there that's ripe for. I mean, Gavin Newsom, who was the boy wonder, is under serious pressure, and they're even talking about a recall petition, so that the people of California are beginning to wake up and see what the Democrats have done to them. And much of this is the fire problem, while is a natural occurring thing. The fact that they put restrictions on clearing of the underbrush to prevent the fires from spreading and providing fuel for the fires, as that's one of the reasons. And that's why we have so many people out of their homes be destroyed. So it's really a situation that, and then you've got the homeless problem, you've got the needles and the feces on the streets, and it's a huge problem in California. And I think the people of California were like the people of the United States in 2016. They had enough of Barack Obama. He gave us hope, but he didn't give us any change, except he took more money out of our pockets and destroyed the healthcare system. I think the American people are beginning to understand that these Democrats are dangerous people. And you know what? If their party is destroyed in 2020, they don't really care. They don't really care. It's all to them about being in control, having the power and the principle, and sacrificing. I mean, I wrote over a year ago that the Democratic Party has, for the last 40 years, been the party of victims. And I said that the nominee for the presidency for the Democratic Party in 2020 will be the ultimate victim. And at that time I said, and I got a lot of people laughing at me when I said it, the ultimate victim in the Democratic Party is Hillary Clinton. And I wrote about her, the possibility of her running over a year ago, and people thought I was crazy and were laughing at me. Now I get those same people who were crazy and laughing at me are saying, how did you figure that out? And I said, understand, it's the party of victimhood. She is the ultimate. The presidency of the United States was stolen from her. She needs to have a chance. And her arrogance, when she said recently, I beat him once, I can beat him again. It just shows that they don't really care about the American people. I mean, how many of your listeners would walk into the voting booth if Elizabeth Warren was the nominee for the Democratic Party, knowing that she wants to put 2 million people out of work in health care, and she wants to increase taxes by $57 trillion,
Yep.
are going to pull the lever for her.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely crazy. Yeah, and with Hillary Clinton saying, I beat him once, I can beat him again, I mean, the memes that came out of that, the one flew over the cuckoo's nest memes about her in the group therapy session, saying, you know, I was president, I beat him once. I mean, they were just absolutely hilarious. And real quick on the California thing, speaking of memes, I mean, to see the meme where it was talking about we don't need to clean out the forest or maintain the forest because of the animals and the environment. And now you see the picture right next to it where it's engulfed in flames. It's like, yeah, that worked out real well. Or all the people that were like, switch to electric cars, and now they have no power to charge their electric cars. I mean, it really is a liberal dystopia over there. Now, I wanted to ask you this, though. We're talking with Dan Perkins. He's a foreign policy analyst, also impeachment analyst today. Is there any motivation here about the Ukraine? I read one piece this morning where they said this whole whistleblower, this guy that, CIA guy, it was essentially, look, Donald Trump flew too close to the sun, was about to expose all of the corruption, the Democrat Party corruption, maybe some Republicans are involved too, in the Ukraine, and that's why they're doing this, because it's kind of like a caged animal. They do not want the American people to really know what they were doing with the government of the Ukraine.
I think that's as the British would say, spot on. But I think you can expand a little larger. It's not only do they not want the American people to know what they were doing with the Ukraine, they don't want the American people to know how much they were trying to overthrow the government and negating their votes under the Constitution. That's got them nervous, because we got 3 reports coming. We got Horowitz, we got Durham, and we got Barr, and even the guy out in Utah who's looking at certain things on Hillary. So there's a lot of things going on in Washington that could have devastating impact on the Democratic Party, and ultimately, I'll make another prediction. I said it was going to be 48 or 49 to 1. I'm going to also predict, and I've been doing it now for the last 2 months, and it's starting to happen. I believe before the Democratic convention, Barack Obama will be indicted by a grand jury.
Really? Wow. No, that's.
And we're going to go in. We're going to go out of the Democrat into the Republican, and after the Republican convention, and Donald Trump is the nominee, he will pardon Barack Obama.
You've said that on the program before.
Yes.
Huh.
And now you're seeing more and more people raising the question, the old Ronald or the old Nixon question. What did he know, and when did he know it? And you've got Brennan and Clapper saying, we reported directly to the president doing what we were doing. So now we're getting more and more people saying the president was intimately involved. He told us he didn't know about Hillary's emails, except he was getting emails from Hillary. So, but more and more accusations are being raised about Barack Obama's involvement, and I think that you could, the biggest bombshell probably in the history of our country would be a grand jury indictment of a former president.
Yeah, and and then if he was pardoned, it would deflate. The left would say banana republic, and then that's you talk about an example of unity. Man, that would be nuts. I mean, listen, if I'm willing to entertain the idea that McCabe's going to be indicted, Brennan, Comey, Clapper, all of these folks in the Obama administration, then yeah, I mean, I could entertain that idea. I would be shocked, and I would imagine Hillary Clinton would be indicted before Barack Obama, but who
Right.
knows? Who knows?
Right. Yes.
Dan Perkins, appreciate it, sir. It's always great to have you on. Appreciate your speculations, and hey, we'll wait and see, and maybe they'll come true.
Yeah, your listeners can follow me at danperkins.guru.